Hi guys, welcome to lesson 15, data types, the swapping algorithm. Now what's an algorithm? It sounds so complicated, yet we do it every day. Say you want to make a cup of coffee. You boil the water, add it to the cup, you add the coffee, sugar, milk, etc. No? Similarly, there are different types of algorithms running on computers. Algorithms are instructions that computers need to follow to solve a specific problem, just like we did with our making a coffee. Now, in our first algorithm, let's watch a real-life video and take note. This is quite dangerous, so if you're not familiar in this, don't try it at home. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make 2 cups of coffee. As you can see, one is the FC Porto mug, another one is a Benfica mug. And as you guys that follow soccer, especially here in the Portuguese, they're big rivals. They are big rivals, the Benfica and the Porto's team. And my wife is Porto and I am Benfica. So there I added a cup of a teaspoon of coffee. And now I'm going to add a teaspoon of honey because I like my coffee sweet. Now I'm just waiting for the water to boil. Okay, so I pour in the boiling water. This is real life, so you see here the cars going past. So there's the water. Now I put the water back. Careful. I like my coffee with milk. I put milk. My wife likes her coffee black. I like mine with honey and milk. There, it's done. Oops, I made a mistake. Oh, I've made my coffee in the wrong mug. I can't take that coffee to my wife. She's going to kill me if I take her coffee in a Benfica mug. What am I going to do here? Oh, the swap algorithm. I take a neutral cup, Portugal, since we're both Portuguese, and there's it. I pour my coffee into the neutral. Then I take her coffee that's in my mug and put it in her mug. And now I just take the one that's in the neutral cup, in the Portugal cup, and I put it in my mug. And then we're all happy now. It's safe. It's safe. I can take the coffee to my wife. Now the problem. Now, as you saw in the previous video, I made 2 cups of coffee in our favorite coffee mugs. Now, I like my coffee with honey and milk, and my wife prefers hers black. yeah, I know. Now, the issue is that I mistakenly swapped the 2 mugs around. We saw how to solve this in a real life situation, but how will we solve this programmatically? Fortunately, this is a common computer problem, and as such there are many common algorithms to solve this. We'll be looking at the swapping algorithm, that is to solve many programming challenges such as sorting elements and objects. I'll also add a bonus by showing you how one can perform magic by using mathematics. So let's get to it. Okay, so I open my text editor and I'm going to put in my code to start off with and just explain to you. I'm starting a new class, public class, and I'm naming it swap me algorithm. And then I've got my main method, public static void main string args. and I'm going to save it with the same name that I used there. So I'm just going to copy that, it's going to be easier, and I'm going to say save, and you can save it in any of your files where you're going to put your projects in. I'm going to save it here in my where I keep it my projects, and I'm going to say .java, remember the same name with Java at the end, and there I've saved it, swap me algorithm .java. Okay, so I've got now my class ready for my code. Next we need some variables that we're going to work with. So here's my variables. I'm going to declare and initialize them. Well, if you think about when we make a coffee, I'm giving each one of the variables a name. It's indicative of what I'm making the coffee, and I'm making them all int values. The boiling water, we need boiling water, I'm giving it a value of 1. Coffee, I'm giving a value of 2, milk a value of 3, and honey a value of 4. So black coffee, now I'll make black coffee, I'll have 2 teaspoons of coffee, so 2 times the coffee, so it's 2 times 2 gives you 4, plus I'll add boiling water, and boiling water is 1, so that will give me 5. So black coffee will give me a value of 5. And then milk and honey coffee, well, I start again with 2 teaspoons of coffee, then I add boiling water, that gives me 5, same as the previous one. Then I add milk, so that will give me 5 plus 3, which is 8. Yeah, and then I add 1 teaspoon of honey. So it's 1 times 4, I could have just made it 4, so it should give me a value of 12. So yeah, I've got my initial variables that I'll be working with. And then I also need some special variables. So let's do these, and these are just for when I'm displaying my values and so on. So I'll explain to you. Here are some of my special variables, and these are all char variables. And if you're unsure what these mean, just look at my previous video. If you're unsure about the char, lesson 14, data types, Java's char primitive types, and if you're unsure about the ints and so on, there are tutorials, previous tutorials on that as well. Yeah, I'm using what we've learned in the previous tutorials to accomplish this project, this challenge we got here. So I've got an X bones here, and it's Unicode. I've got a smiley, a sad face, a star, a mug, and the bell. Okay, so these are my special characters for like graphics and so on that I'm going to use. And then let's now see the value of, we can print out the value of black coffee and milk and honey. Okay, and this, if you recall, is an escape sequence, which means it will print, and then it will print 2 lines after that. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to open my terminal in the same directory where my class file is. So I'm just going to say open in terminal, and I'm just going to make this bigger for you so you guys can see it better. Okay, slightly bigger, and then I'm going to check now. I'm going to test it. So far Java and the same name, so it's swap me algorithm .java, and if we spelled it right, and as you can see, the black coffee's value is 5, and coffee with milk and honey value is 6. Okay, so I am now printing those values that I've got here. So let's bring this one there. So this is that over there, which is my black coffee and my milk and honey, which I'm displaying it over here. As you can see, black coffee, milk and honey. And there's the two lines over there, those escape sequences which I mentioned before. You can go, if you're unsure, on lesson 14 I'll go into detail about that. Let's carry on with our project though. Okay, so now I'm going to make the coffee. So let's make the coffee and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to put more code in here. Okay, so here I make the coffee. So I make 2 cups of coffee. The one is in the Porto mug, which is my wife's coffee, as she is a Porto supporter, and the Benfica mug is mine. So yeah, what I'm doing is the same that I did there. I'm now putting 2 teaspoons of coffee and boiling water and milk and honey in the Porto cup, and then the Benfica one I am now putting 2 cups of coffee and boiling water, the black coffee. And then I'm going to output it and the Benfica one, and then I realize after I've made it, and it's going to give me a skeleton here. Oops, I've put the context in the wrong mugs. The black coffee should be in the Porto mug. Benfica mug should contain the Porto mug's information. The Porto should contain the Benfica. And how do we swap them around? Okay, so let's just see this. And I'm going to compile it and run it. And you heard the bell went, and let's see what's happening here. I've got black coffee like we saw in the beginning, and then I'm outputting all that, so it's like a little nice story. I make the 2 cups of coffee. The one is the Porto mug is on the wife's, as she's a Porto supporter. Benfica mug is mine. And then notice here, the Porto mug has got the contents of 12, which we saw 12 is coffee with milk, honey, which is a value of 12, and the Benfica mug is a value of 5, which is the black coffee, and I got them the wrong way around. And yeah, you'd have seen it gives me this little character here, the skeleton that is coming from these over here, the X bone, the Unicode 2620, and so on. Oops, I put the context in the wrong mug. The black coffee should be in the Porto mug. The Benfica mug should contain 12 and Porto should contain 5. Now how do we swap it? Okay, so this is now how we going to go about. If you remember the video, I used a spare mug, so let's try that. Let's use the spare mug to solve this. So I just added more code here, and you will see solution 1. This is my first solution using the spare mug. I'm printing out using a spare mug, cup or mug. Okay, and there I've got the graphics mug, which would be this Unicode character here. It's going to give me a little coffee cup, and then I am printing out the steps over here. So let's just see how I'm actually doing all the print tabs and everything with the new line feeds all in one string, in one print line, instead of writing various print line statements. You can also do it that way. So I'm going to run that one, and here we are. So yeah, how do we swap them? We stop there. So solution 1, using the spare cup or mug, and there's my little graphics of a mug. Step 1 is I get a spare mug that can hold the contents of the other mug, which in this case if you think of it, I'm using int values, the coffee, where are my mugs? If you go and look here, we have declared my mugs. Yeah, they are. You'll see the Porto mug is an int and the Benfica mug is an int. So obviously we'll use the spare mug as an int because the int can hold an int. Okay, and then pour the one mug's content in this mug. So I will take the Porto mug in this case and I will pour it into the spare mug. Now I pour the contents of the Benfica's mug into the Porto mug, and lastly I pour the spare mug's content into Benfica's mug, and obviously I would then have nothing in the spare mug. So I'm printing that out there. So here it is. I've outputted it there. The spare mug that can hold step 2, step 3 and step 4. I'm just printing it out as I read it on the code itself. Now I'm just printing the same value of what is black coffee, which should give me a value of 5, and then the coffee with milk and honey, which should give me 12, so that it will be easy displayed. And yeah, step 1, my spare mug, which I used, if you recall, it was the mug with the Portugal emblem. So I'm using it here and I'm initializing it to 0. So that's step 1. So I'm going to save that. Let's just test it quickly. And you'll see there's my black coffee value again, and my coffee with milk is 12 again. And obviously I didn't output, I've just allocated a variable of type int, the value 1 for the spare mug, so it won't appear there. So what was step 2? So let's look at step 2. And yeah, step 2, not 2, just step 2, the Portugal mug. I pour the contents of the Porto mug into the Portugal mug, which is the spare mug. Then I take the Benfica's mug and I pour its contents into the Porto mug. And then the Benfica, the Portugal mug, I pour back into the Benfica mug. So I've swapped the two around, and then I have to initialize my Portugal mug to 0 because it's now empty. So I've done that, and now I've swapped it. So all we need to do, so this is actually from step 2 to step 4 basically. So I'm just going to save that, indicate that there, and then all I need now is to print out the contents to see if it actually worked. So I'm going to put where we display the contents, and I've got a couple of System.out.println lines here to print other things, and I'm printing now the Porto mug here, the contents of the Porto mug, the contents of the Benfica mug, the contents of the Portugal mug. Then I'm saying it's now with a smiley face. Now it's safe for me to take the coffee to my wife because it's in the correct mug. And that is the end of, with 2 smiley faces, end of solution 1. Let's see if it does output and if my solution is working. So let's see, the black coffee here is 5, as you can see. The coffee with the milk and honey is 12. And now my Porto mug contents is 5, so it's black, which is correct. And this is after this code here, which I swapped it from step 2 to 4. And my Benfica's mug is 12, and the Portugal mug is empty again. I initialize it to 0, and it's working fine. And if you can look, now if I scroll, I'm just going to try and make this a bit bigger so you can see. Now, if I scroll, you see here, my Porto mug was 12 here. And then I applied the steps, and my Porto mug is now 5. So I've swapped them around. So I used the same type int of which I initialized to 0, and then I took the port to mug's content and assigned it to the spare mug, and then I took the Benfica's content, which was black coffee, which belonged to the port to mug. I allocated that, you can see over here, to the port to mug, and then the one that was in my spare mug I added to the Benfica mug, and I basically swapped them around. Now, what happens if we don't have a spare mug? In other words, I made a mistake and I don't have a spare mug to swap them around. What would I do in this case? Okay, and that is what I'm printing out. Yeah, so just for completeness, let's see if it prints it out. Yeah, that now for the bonus part. And what I'm asking here is, now what if we don't have a spare mug and we made the same mistake? And I've got a little sad face over there, which again I'm using that sad face here, the sad character. There it is. Okay, in code. So I'm just printing out the story as well while we're doing the solution, so that we can see how to print text, formatted text, and so on. So the first thing I need to do is I need to just reinitialize our variables so that they back to the wrong state. So let's do that. So I'm just going to repeat the previous code. So I'm just going to add that code here. So what's happening here, I'm going to print the value of black coffee, which we know is 5, which was given right in the beginning here. Black coffee, here it is, a value of 5, and the milk and honey coffee, which should give me a value of 12, since we didn't change those. And here I'm again assigning the value port to mug with the milk and honey, which is wrongly done, and then Benfica mug the black coffee, and then I'm outputting here. I make the 2 cups of coffee. The one is in the port to mug is my wife's, as she's a Porto supporter, and the Benfica mug is mine. And then I'm going to output the contents of the port to mug and the contents of the Benfica mug. And yeah, oops, with a skeleton danger sign, oops, I put the contents in the wrong mugs. The black coffee should be in the Porto mug, and Benfica should contain what's in the Porto mugs, and the Porto mug should contain what's in the Benfica mugs. So they're wrong around. And I'm also having the bell sound again as a warning. So let's just run that and see. Okay, and let's see now for the bonus part. It's printing out nicely. We saw that, and yeah, we got black coffee should be 5, and the normal coffee, let's call it normal, should be 12. So yeah, I'm printing out the story, and we can see the Porter's mug content is 12, which is wrong. It should be 5 because it's black. And mine should be 12, the Benfica one, and it's wrong, it's now black. So they're the wrong way around. And here's the danger money key again, and oops, and so on. So now the problem is I want to swap it around, but I don't have a spare mug to put to swap them around. So how would I solve this problem? Okay, so let's look at that. How we're going to solve it. Okay, so yeah, I'm just put some code here, and I'm printing out again. Here's a new line, and I'm saying solution 2. And again, you can see I'm using one long string, one print this time instead of a print line, but I am actually printing the lines here. If you look at the special escape sequence ends and the tabs and so on. So I'm formatting my text. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, and here I've got solution 2. How are we going to do it? No spare mark, no problem, we use maths. As we know, we are using int, so we can apply mathematical principles here, and we know that a plus b is equal to c. So let's say this a is Porto and b is Benfica, and the two together gives me a total of the 2. So if I add the 2 together, I get c. Now if I want b by itself, all I do is I move a to the right, so that b is by itself, and when you move it to the right of the equal sign, it becomes negative. So then b is c minus a, and then if I want a in this formula up here, you see this formula here, if I want a, and then I have to move b to that side, so it will be negative, so it will be c minus b, and that should be a b and not a d there. So I'll have to fix that. Okay, I'll fix that now. And then we've swapped the 2 around. Okay, but now there's a trick here, is that this one here, a plus b is equal to the c is the same as a is equal to a plus b. So I don't need the c variable there. I can use the same variable a, which I've stored the black coffee. I can then store a and b, the value of the ints into a, and then do the swap. Then a is equal a plus b, and then b, I want b now, so b will be a minus b, and a will be a minus b. So I'm swapping the 2 around, you see there. So b will be a minus b, and a will be a minus b. So just work it out. If you don't, just take 3 digits and see how it works. And yeah, I'm using the Porto mug. So I'm saying Porto mug is equal to Porto mug plus Benfica mug, and then I'm saying the Benfica mug, I'm going to swap around. Benfica mug is Porto's mug minus the Benfica mug. And that will give me the difference, which is then the Porto's value there, and then I would say the Porto mug there is Porto's mug minus the Benfica mug, which is that value. And if you can see, there's a cross there. You see that? There and there. So I'm swapping them from there to there and there to there. Okay, so if that works, then we should have the solution. So let's put the code that actually does this. And yeah, I've got step 1. And while we're at here, let me just fix this thing that is printing out the D here instead of a B. That should be B there. So I'll just fix that. Okay, so now here we got Porto mug is equal to Porto mug plus Benfica mug, which is A plus B is equal to C. Is the same as A, is the same as what I'm saying here is A equals to A plus B. Okay, and then you got the Benfica mug is now the Porto mug minus the Benfica mug. So I'm taking the Porto's value in there, and the Porto's value I'm taking the Benfica's value in there. As you can see, I'm swapping them around. Let's see if it works. And then Porto's mug content is Porto mug, and Benfica's mug content is Benfica's mug. So we'll see if it's correct. And then the smiley face. And you've got another special character, which is a star character. And all I'm saying here, note the use of Unicode literals, which I've been highlighting all the time, and escape sequences. So let's go and see what it does. Now we're on solution 2, and this is the steps. And the Porto's mug, you can see now, is again 5. and the Benfica's mug is again 12. So we seem to have sorted it out, which if you go here right from the beginning here. Now what if we don't have a spare mug, and yeah, we got black coffee 5 and the mixed coffee 12, and you can see my Porto's mug here is 12, which is wrong, and my Benfica's mug is 5, which is wrong. They should be the other way around. And then I'm just saying, printing out how I'm going to swap the two around. And if you look here, I'm printing the context again, and Porto now is 5, which is the black coffee, and Benfica is now 12, which is the milk and honey coffee. So now it's safe again to take to my wife, and notice all the graphics and the formatting by just using print line statements I used. Okay, but yeah, we've actually did an algorithm, the swap algorithm, and I used two different ways of doing this. You got the code, so you can just study this if you're unsure and look at it a couple of times. We've come to the end of our project on the swapping algorithm. This is very common in programming, such as you have a list of elements in a collection and you need to sort them in a certain order. You could then iterate through that collection and swap those that need to be swapped until the elements are in the correct order. We saw two ways of implementing a simple swap algorithm. Sure, it's not a complex collection of items we're swapping. In fact, it's just two elements, but the concept remains the same. I hope that you learned something. Comments are welcome, and don't forget to like, press the notify and subscribe button. I've also got another channel, AJA, As Aventuras do João, Joa's Adventures, that you are welcome to visit. Until we meet again, happy coding.